Welcome to Energy Work and Healing. I'm Trisha George, an energy healer and intuitive guide, here to help you reconnect with your body, your energy, and your truth. This podcast is all about blending spiritual integrity with practicality, offering grounded insights, energy tools, and real conversations to support your healing journey. Whether you're just beginning or deep into your process, you are in the right place. Let's dive into this together.
Hi, this is Trisha from Energy Work and Healing, and thank you for joining this podcast. And today we're talking about embracing our inner magician and how can we transform fear into an empowered healing process through the use of energy work. And first thing is kudos to you for actually choosing this path to actually start a journey of self-discovery and healing through energy work. It is a really brave and transformative decision you're making, and it probably wasn't the easiest one for you. It was probably a little bit scary and a little bit challenging. The thing is that it opens a door for a deeper understanding of your mental and emotional self. And it sort of allows you to experience life from a fresh perspective because you're actually going to start doing things differently, maybe reacting differently, and showing up differently for people. And they're going to notice that and they're going to see that change in you. And that's going to be really inspiring for them as well. And this inner work, this energy work that you're going to start doing for yourself, not only enhances your spiritual growth, but it also enhances your life and it teaches you a new modality as to how you're going to interact with the world around you. And in this post, I want to examine how embracing energy work can help you see yourself as a powerful magician in your own life. Like, how can you manifest? How can you create? And we'll also discuss the fears that accompany change because let's face it, we all have fears. We all have something we're afraid of. And if we can face them forwardly, that way we can actually walk into our fears and, in essence, create like a pathway for healing because we're overcoming those fears that would typically stop us in our tracks otherwise. So, energy work, it encompasses so much. It could be Reiki, it could be aura healing, it could be chakra clearing, it could be sound bath, it could be anything else you could think of, sound healing. I mean, there's so many different processes of energy work. It just is really what works for you. Some people, even just praying is a form of energy work. So, if we take the understanding that when we do Reiki, for example, Reiki in itself can lead to a 60% reduction in energy levels in people. And that in itself is telling you that you are energy first. You're impacting your energetic field when someone's actually raking your body and they're moving energy in and around you. So you're actually experiencing calm, peace without them even touching your physical form. So these different practices, and you'll have to pick what's best for you, they really create a safe space, and that should allow you the space to actually address the core issues that you're dealing with in your mental and emotional bodies. Because those are the two bodies that you're really going to be working with in order to reconnect with your spiritual and reconnect with your physical, right? The mental and emotional are kind of somewhere in the middle. And we're just going to try to align them all together through the use of energy work. That's what you're trying to do is find your center. So when we start energy work, we begin to eliminate stagnant energy that affects our well-being. So this acts like a mental and emotional sort of decluttering. I mean, maybe you're cleaning out your closet, but you're paving the way for fresh new energy to flow into your body, into your being, and you're sort of facilitating a deeper healing for yourself where initially when you first started, those fears might have been apprehensions, but once that goes away and those get quieter, it's a lot easier to sort of say, okay, I'm on this journey for myself and I accept this because I can already feel a little difference here and there. And what we need to understand is that energy, right? So this is our energy ball. It influences how we interact with others and how we respond to specific situations. So, what I mean by that is if we remember that we have an energetic field, people are sensing our energetic fields before they're even sensing us physically, possibly. So, they before we even walk in that room, they're sensing a shift in the energy field because your energy is going into that space before you actually enter it. And by tuning into your energy, you can start recognizing your patterns, your fixed beliefs, your habits that aren't really serving your highest good anymore. Like if people leave the room as soon as you enter, you know something's up. You know something's not totally copacetic. And that's okay. That's the sort of sign or signal to let you know that there's something you need to work on. And if we understand that through energy work, we can shift from being sort of an unconscious player in your life, in my life, to being a conscious observer. And this change enables you to see how your thoughts and feelings actually shape your reality. We're always thinking things are happening to us from an external source, but that's not true. What's happening is we're sending out signals constantly, all throughout the day. And we just have to be aware that those signals bring information back to us. So we want to be able to sort of shape and mold and transform those feelings. And we want to move away from victimhood and come into a sense of empowerment or just an inner power. So if we can consider that just by having the concept of, let's just say hypothetically, that we're going to say, I'm going to be more mindful. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be more mindful in my day to day life. So, mindfulness, just mindfulness alone, it can change who you are over a period of 6 months. So, and what happens is you go into a heightened state of self awareness. And this is detected through either meditation, maybe just sitting quietly, going on reflective walks, whatever you need for your mindfulness space. If you do that consistency, you're going to see a difference over a period of 6 months in your energetic field. And you sort of get a heightened state of awareness when you start seeing that whatever you believe and what you tell yourself you believe is actually a tool that's going to assist you in the effect of your life circumstances. So, what do I mean by that? So, if you think you're feeling lost, you can recognize that you want to create a change. So, that idea of creating a change is the tool. You're saying that this is what I'm trying to do. And then through mindfulness, recognizing that you're going to create that change. And if you're doing that and just having patience and sort of non attachment or no judgment, they're going to eventually meet each other in the middle. And that's where you're going to start to react more thoughtfully with your thoughts, right? Even if it's coming from your heart chakra, your brain, or your gut, right? We have different minds. Or it's going to come from a wholeness of you. But whatever it is, you're going to stop reacting impulsively. You're going to stop reacting to people because you're going to become that observer. You're more mindful. You're sitting in your awareness rather than sitting outside yourself. And it's not easy in the beginning. It takes time because what happens is we have fear, right? False energy appearing real. It's not real. Our fears are always greater than what really happens to us in our day to day lives. And when it comes to energy work, finding the right practitioner or even just starting to teach yourself on your own, you know, it can be a little intimidating. And some people might feel paralyzed by the fear, or they're judging themselves, or they're worried someone else is going to judge them. But how can you start to see the fear as a sort of growth opportunity? Like, how can we let fear blossom rather than shrivel and crinkle like a raisin, right? We don't want to have a raisin. So fear, it's a natural healing process. It's there for a reason. It's just that we tend to use it 24/7 in this day and age, right? So if we acknowledge that your fears help you work through your life situations and recognize that each life situation is going to have a different experience, but we don't want the fear to dictate our actions. So if we recognize that about 70% of the people who try to pursue a passion will stop it dead in their tracks because of fear. And it's usually fear of failure, fear of judgment, not succeeding, whatever you want to call it. But there's a fear that stops the moving, stops the new job, stops that relationship because you've already sabotaged it in the future, right? Our future goes this way. So you're already sabotaging it based on some sort of judgment, but when we're in self-exploration, we have to like permeate through that fear, actually break through it. It's like we're overcoming it. We're acknowledging it. Yes, it exists, but we're not going to let it conquer us. We're not going to let it be the commando for us. We're going to come from our own dominion, and we're going to focus with what our spirit is resonating with, because we're letting our spirit become its innate self. And when we allow our spirit to become its innate self, we can sort of embrace our fears, allow ourselves to walk on our path, and stop ourselves from sabotaging our discovery of who we're meant to be innately. Because that's what tends to happen. We give it a try. We might not feel the success right away. So we start to worry and we let go, right? We give up. How many of us always just give up rather than keep going? Workouts are a great example, right? How can you get yourself in the gym every single day or 5 days a week or 3 days a week? There's always something that we can make an excuse for that stops us from moving on our trajectory. But if we begin to realize that energy work, getting to know this body that's within us, is the foundation for us. That's the concrete slab. And then on top of that is where we can manifest everything, in conjunction with each other. And as we begin to harness and learn about our energy, get to know ourselves, we can actually identify what we have as limiting beliefs that may be holding us back, or what fixed patterns we have, or where we get ourselves stuck in the mud, right? Beliefs are very powerful, but we want to use them towards manifestation, right? Manifestation of the future. When we're always thinking to the right, it's always the future. And as you grow into an understanding that you are the creator of your life, you can then direct your energy, right? This is our energy ball. You can direct your energy towards the intentions that reflect your true self. And this could mean pursuing that new career, building healthier relationships, or just focusing on personal development. I mean, really, on this playing field, in this earth, in this time, the opportunities are pretty endless. We pretty much can be, do, or have whatever we choose to do. We just have to make that first step. And sometimes that first step is the scariest because of the fears that we're dealing with. But we want to use manifestation at 100% or greater. And be careful of the word want. That word want is so dangerous. It's like a tar pit. And when you want something, like, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that, you're in that wanting. You're already having that want. You're actually not receiving it. Well, you are. You're receiving it as a want, but you're not doing, right? There's no production of it. So if you realize that you can have, you can receive, and even if you envision a gauge over here and then have this gauge sort of set, in a digital screen capture if you want, or if you want a little meter, whatever you want, but you're going to have a gauge here, and that's going to be your happiness gauge. And you're going to ask your gauge to show you what percentage you are in having your desire. And if that's at, say, 80%, it's not high enough to have it. You can't have anything unless it's at 100% or greater. So then you have to ask yourself, can I move that little dial? Can I adjust that little thermometer, the barometer, whatever you want to call it? But can I get it to 100%? When you get it to 100%, that's when you're in alignment, right? You're in alignment with your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions, all wrapped up into one pretty piece, right? One little pretty picture. Because you're knowing, you have, you're receiving. And we want to allow ourselves to come from that space. Because when we say, oh, I'm going to have this one day, and then like not even an hour later, we're like, oh, I can't have it, right? You're giving mixed signals to the universe constantly. And you want to start practice manifesting the best way you possibly can. And that's through actively doing it over and over and over again and not giving up on yourself. And the more you practice, the better you will be. And start small, start little. I mean, pick one little thing. Maybe your first thing's going to be getting up 15, 20 minutes early without looking at your cell phone and getting yourself in a safe space where you can actually do a meditation for yourself. Become mindful for even 5 minutes a day, whatever it can take to allow you the space to actually begin to expand your energy field and to heal it. Now, for other people, it might take a little bit more. It just depends on who we are, right? We all learn differently. So you might be the type of person that's a book nerd, and you want to educate yourself. So then dive into your research. I mean, there's so much out there now: podcasts, books, ebooks, Kindle books. I mean, you name the books, there's books out the wazoo. There's information more now than we've ever had. And I'm not saying to take anything for full truth, but listen to it, read it, hear it, and then make your own deductions. Make your own choices based on the information that you're pulling into your space. Maybe you want to learn about Reiki. Maybe you want to learn about the chakras. Maybe you want to learn about the aura or just healing in general. Pay attention to what resonates with you the most. That is the most important thing. You have to have enthusiasm with it. And set clear intentions for yourself. Even if the intention has to be like written on a post-it, you just write it on a post-it. And you can have it stuck to your wall or stuck to your computer or stuck to your front door or your mirror. But also have the strength to tear up your intention. Non-attachment, right? We do not want to be attached to any particular outcome. We can have a clear intention. We can have a set mindset of where we're heading, but we don't want to hold on to it because that creates limitation in our space. We want to use the intention to help us stay focused and enhance our healing. Another thing you can do is find a practitioner. I really do hope that you find one that gives you some time to talk with them before you start to work with them. I offer a 10-minute complimentary hello just for that reason. Am I a perfect fit for everybody? No, but I do the best I possibly can as a service to be there for my clients in the way that I see fit. And it's okay to maybe not engage with everybody because we all have different energy fields. So if my energy doesn't resonate with someone, shouldn't they know that before they start a session? I think that's a little bit easier than getting into it and finding yourself a little bit discontent with your practitioner of choice. Maybe you want to try Reiki. Maybe you want to try aura healing or a sound bath. Let yourself have the opportunity. Maybe you enjoy floating. It just depends on what you're doing. Allow yourself the essence or the ability to actually experience the different practices that are out there and try to find somebody that suits your needs. If you're going into this and they're offering you something that sounds too good to be true, it's just like buying a new car in a way, right? So you want to be cautious. You want to be aware and conscious while you're looking for the practitioner that works for you. And then try to practice mindfulness throughout the day. It doesn't have to be always a meditation. It could just be an inner reflection. You could just divert your eyes for a little bit and focus on an area on the wall. You can look downwards. You could just take a breath and relax. That's mindfulness. And you're trying to foster and create a healing environment for your spirit and your soul in this physical form. So you're trying to keep this physical form in homeostasis, keep your shoulders relaxed. We don't want to be doing this all day. That's just stress. So we want to try to give ourselves some mindfulness, some appreciation for showing up for ourselves today so we can move forward. And we have to, first and foremost, trust the process. And change takes time. You have to be willing to embrace your journey and not try to judge when you're going to reach the finish line, because you're not going to reach any finish line. There is none. So you have to have patience with yourself. Baby steps, one thing at a time. Don't go crazy. Be kind to yourself. Because when you're choosing to sort of change your life through energy work, for me, it was the most profound experience I had in my entire life. There's nothing that I have had in this lifetime of 54 years that was greater than my choice to make the change. And that change was towards self-love, self-acceptance, the unknown, because there was a lot of that down that road. But through all of those things, I had courage and empowerment for myself. I became fearless because I knew nothing could hurt me or harm me, because I was connected to my innate self. I still am connected to my innate self. And as I still let myself transform and my practice is still transforming, you're going to have that same experience and you're going to heal your mental and emotional wounds. And you're becoming a conscious observer of your day-to-day life. And you're embracing yourself as a creator, because you are the creator of this. You chose this body and you chose this reality in which to dwell in. You chose your family. You chose your parents. You've chosen all of your experiences. Never give anyone dominion over your energetic field. It is yours and yours alone. And be aware of that. Be conscious of that. Because fear is still going to creep in. It still comes in, right? But you have to just acknowledge it and then transform it, right? You're transforming that fear into determination, courageousness, or empowerment. You're moving forward. And that fear will dissipate. It will go away. It will shrink and get smaller, because it's not going to be getting fed anymore. Your journey is yours alone. Nobody else has permission to be there. It's yours. And you have to allow yourself the patience to get to know who your true self is. Because most of us don't know who we are. And who knows, maybe tomorrow I'm going to be somebody else. But at least I'm giving myself permission to have that freedom. When we have healing and we embrace that healing in a remarkable way, it can affect every aspect of our life. So it'll affect our relationships, our career, our home, our job, our kids, our dogs, our pets, whatever you want it to affect. It's going to affect everything that surrounds you. There's no way to not touch something, because you're the center, right? You're the nucleus and you're that centerpiece, and everything else is coming in that circumference around you, you know? But we have to realize that with that circumference, we're living an authentic life, because we're being authentic to every aspect of our life. We're not wearing different sort of veils or masks for each aspect of who we are. We're being the true self that's innate within us, that we're meant to be. So how can you allow yourself to have that? I hope this helped you a little bit. I'm definitely a spokesperson for energy work. And if you think this um, podcast might help somebody, maybe share it with them, maybe talk about it, have a conversation. In this day and age, we can finally start talking about energy work and healing and Reiki and chakras and aura without looking like we have 12 heads, right? So why not enjoy the process? Share your thoughts and opinions with others without judgment and enjoy the ride. Be gentle. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for being here with me on Energy Work and Healing. I hope today's conversation offered you something meaningful to carry forward for your day-to-day life. This space is all about blending our spiritual integrity with practicality so you can heal, grow, and live with intention. And if this episode spoke to you, I'd love it if you would subscribe, share it, or just leave a review. Until next time, take care of your energy, trust your path, and keep showing up for the work that matters for you.